joining us right now on the Mercedes-Benz Vans hotline to kick off hour number 2. He's a man who spent 9 years with the Buffalo Bills after being drafted in the first round by the team in 2009. He's in his 4th year in the booth for the Buffalo Bills radio network. Erick Wood back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you doing, Erick?
I'm still a little shook up after last night, I'll be honest with you, but I'm doing all right, all things considered.
Okay, so walk me through your night, because, again, I'm assuming, Erick, you traveled back with the team, correct? Is that a correct assumption?
So I live in Louisville, Kentucky, so that's calling a game in Cincinnati.
I got it.
Is about as close to a home game as I get, and so I drove home after the game last night.
All right, so then let's walk through what you know about the situation currently, if anything. Erick, what are you hearing?
Just what we see, the reports that come out, and the Hamlin family released a statement a little bit ago just thanking everyone involved for all the support, for the care that they've received, from on-field care that Damar received and what they're receiving at the hospital now. But we don't have any additional information at this time, and I feel like that's making it just even worse. It's that just constant, just waiting for that good news to happen. And you could tell immediately when you saw the players' reactions, when you saw the medical staff reaction on the field, that this wasn't just another football injury. Unfortunately, we've become accustomed to seeing carts come out and get guys off the field, and you always kind of get that wave or that thumbs up. And this wasn't one of those situations, and because we didn't see movement from him, and you're just waiting on pins and needles for an update, it makes this day even tougher.
Of course it does. No question about it. Tell me about Damar. What do you know about him? What can you tell the audience here about this young man?
Yes, special young man. I covered college football for ESPN and ACC Network for a couple of years, so I got the opportunity to cover him while he was at the University of Pittsburgh, and he was a very special young man there and continues, and it just was magnified when he got the NFL platform. I remember being in production meetings with Pitt's head coach, Pat Narduzzi, and he would just rave about the person and the player that Damar Hamlin is, and being from the Pittsburgh area, from McKees Rocks, and then he doesn't go too far over to Buffalo, just does so much in the community, always has a big smile on his face, just so much gratitude that he lives his life with. You could see the love and respect his teammates and everyone on the field had for him last night in the reactions.
Well, I mean, and can you walk me through what the players on the field might have relayed to you? You have heard about what happened on the field last night and their reaction to it and the decision to go back in the locker room, Erick?
Yeah, I have not reached out to anybody out of privacy and respect, and just it allows me to come on appearances and not have to cover up maybe insider info as well. But I'll say this, when that stadium went from maybe the most electrifying I've been in all year, really rivaling a lot of big games that have been played in Buffalo this year as well, and it went from so loud and electric to just complete silence there. And the players and the emotion that you could see on their face, it no longer felt like a football game. It had an eerie, just completely shaken feeling to the entire building. A lot of class shown by the fans in Cincinnati, all the support at the stadium for being a road game, a Bills player on the ground where everyone is anticipating this game for so long. When they made the announcement to cancel it, there was no grumbling. There was a lot of respect shown for the situation last night.
Wow. So, what do you think is going on in the Bills locker room right now, or is the team back together? I mean, what can you tell me on that front, Erick, if anything?
I would assume that they have guys together because in moments like this where it's so emotional, I know me personally, I'd want to be around those I care about. So the day after a game, off a Monday night game, you have a shorter week coming up. I would assume that they have the guys at the facility, and whether that's with their team chaplain, Len Vandenbos, whether that's with therapists, whatever it is, these guys were completely shook last night, and so they're going to be pouring in to those guys.
Well, and then I guess last one for you, Erick, is 9 years in the NFL. Clearly, you've never seen anything like this. at all. So what do you think goes through? What can you express to me the emotion that we were seeing on the faces and the tears coming out of the eyes of the players last night? What that feels like to you as a former player seeing it, Eric?
Yeah, that was like nothing I've ever seen. I did the Joe Theismann leg break my rookie year, and I remember teammates being emotional, but nothing like what we saw last night. It was full support from both teams and understanding the severity of the situation that a young man could lose his life on the field right there. I mean, those guys were you could read it all over their faces. And there's just no way, without knowing the status of Damar last night, that either team would want to go out there and play. And, you come off of a big injury, you see somebody get hurt, there's a little bit of hesitancy. I can't imagine, watching what happened, and I know how rare that is what happened last night. Man, it's going to be tough to get back on the football field for many of those guys.
Because I'm sure, again, what did it take for you to get ready to play in a game, right? And then I'll say this. There's a certain amount of physicality. There's a certain amount of risk that you're putting your body through when you walk out on an NFL football field. And, we'll generally say, like, what we do is not life and death. We are not defending our country like the military is, but you see something last night and you almost have a guy die on the field. It just brings a whole new perspective to the situation. And last night was not a normal football injury that we're so used to seeing. This was in a realm of its own. Eric, thanks for the time, man. You be well. Hug your fam, and hope to hear you back in the booth in short order with Hamlin out of the hospital and back on his feet.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rich.
Thanks for the call,
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rich. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime. That's Eric Wood right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Fresh back from calling the game last night.